What's up, Dirty Plant hosts? My name is Rachel, this is Heart-Shaped Leaves, and welcome back to my bedroom. So welcome back, everybody. If you're a new subscriber, I'm so glad to have you. It's a pleasure. If you are an old subscriber, I appreciate and love you guys so much. Plant hoe gangs forever. I got a comment in our last video that said something about I'm a dirty plant pimp because I make my plants work for me. Today, we're going to be talking about what I use in my all-around soil mix. And this means I use this soil mix for my anthuriums, I use it for my philodendrons, I use it for my monstera, and I use a tweaked version of it for my begonias. So that sounds crazy. One mix does not usually fit all, but my laziness combined with my don't want to ever leave the house to go to the store, combined with the cheap nature of myself, we have a pretty interesting mix that I don't think a lot of people would really approve of, because every plant video that I've ever watched has been kind of down on the products that I use. Disclaimer.
Be nice. It's nothing personal.
Now that we're all on the same page, I'm gonna show you guys my secret mix. Just wanted to tell you this one more thing. When it comes to cooking, I don't share my recipes at all. You can ask Casey. If someone asks for like my guacamole recipe, I'm gonna leave out an ingredient, maybe. I mean, if I really like you, I'll give it to you, but otherwise, just don't even ask. It took me a really long time to work on that guacamole recipe. You don't go through the hard streets of San Diego, California, you know, eating off taco trucks and absorbing all this knowledge and then just give it away for free. Seems kind of shady on a woman's part to be just asking for recipes, especially if it's really good. How about trade me a recipe? What you got? And let me taste it first. I might not like it. Let's just get right into it. Okay, so here is the mix that so many people have requested from me in my inbox since I posted my last two videos where we did some updates on some pretty impressive, I would say, plant growth. I mean, I think that my plants are looking
margin in charge. So
this right here, believe it or not, is Miracle Grow moisture control potting soil. I've heard people talk trash about this potting soil in like 120 videos. And this right here is perlite. It's that simple. That's all I use. Also, I've added into the moisture control potting soil my worm castings that you guys can find down in the description below and at all of your local Lowe's and Home Depots and hardware stores. The measurements are 9 cups of moisture control Miracle Grow potting soil to 4 cups of perlite. And the perlite goes either up or down according to the needs of your plant. Same base for every single thing that I mix. Literally, I've got it in a bucket and I don't switch it up. If I've got it in a bucket and I'm repotting begonias and I need to add more soil to the perlite mix, I'll add more soil and mix it up. If I'm going towards the aeroid side of things, then I'll add more perlite and mix it up until I have the right consistency. But I'm gonna show you guys kind of sortly what it should look like when you're about to use it. If you're a beginner, I think this is a really easy mix to manage. When you're finished mixing up your soil, it should look a lot like this. It should be pretty heavily peppered with perlite. But I gave you guys the measurements for a reason, because sometimes when you're first starting out with stuff like this, it can be really intimidating. You're like, what kind of soil do I buy? Do I buy Fox Farm soil? Do I buy this soil? Everybody's got a different kind of soil, and that's cool. I appreciate the fact that people are so, you know, like soil aficionados and stuff like that. I am not. You know, I have a ton of houseplants, and if I was doing like a 4-part mixture, I personally wouldn't have time to do that. I appreciate when other people do it because like I appreciate it, but it's just not what I do because lazy, cheap. The big secret is it's really not much of a secret at all. I'd use this for a philodendron, a monstera, or an anthurium. However, if I was gonna use it for some of my begonias, I would maybe just put a cup more potting soil in there, because it seems like the philodendrons, they seem to handle the drought period a lot better and appreciate the drought period a lot better. I lose leaves on begonias, it seems like, when I let them dry out too much, because I've got not only this super porous soil, but I also have them in terracotta pots. This is the answer to everybody's burning questions in my inbox, and I hope you guys really appreciate me sharing my recipe with you.
Trust, not for a minute. Trust.
The word has always made me apprehensive.
My watering habits is something that we're going to talk about in a whole nother video, because that gets really in depth when it comes to types of plants and how I water. Some plants I don't let sit in their own dish. I have like something that keeps them levitated above it. Anyways, we'll get through that all in another video. Okay, so now that that mystery is solved, I thought that I'd show you guys one more update. Not just because update videos are fun, but because I have a lot to tell you guys about and a lot that I haven't shown you. And it's gonna take several YouTube videos a week or whatever just to get through all the updates that are going on in this house. So the thing that I ordered from Facebook was actually a philodendron plowmanii, and what I got was like half-ass wilted cuttings in the mail. That is not a representation of Facebook sales, let me tell you that right now. There are super duper duper reputable people on Facebook that you can buy plants from. Now if you go in there willy-nilly in those Facebook groups and you go slinging your PayPal numbers at the first girl that comes along, you might get yourself in some trouble. Take the time, research the seller, check them out. There are Facebook review pages that you can visit where you can seek out the seller in particular that you're thinking about buying from. That's what I should have done. Do as mama says, not as mama does type of situation.
Reality.
We're gonna start out with the best performing version of the Facebook plant, fail, and that would be the only one, if you guys can remember, that actually had a leaf when I was doing all these updates with you, just showing you nodes and cups and things like that. So this little guy was number one, and he was the only one in the videos, I think, that actually had a leaf that you could actually see what kind of a plant it was, and I was doubtful that it even was what he said it was at that point, because they came so, girl, they came so tragic. I was too embarrassed to film it because I was like, because the things I'm gonna say about this seller, I don't want to be on the internet. But since then, this plant has grown so well for me. I don't put my young baby philodendrons, monsteras, or anthuriums in terracotta pots. I am a neglectful plant mom. So when all of these nodes got started, they were just that. They were nodes. This one actually had a leaf on it. I start them all out in either a plastic nursery pot or a plastic pot. I have these linked down below too. I have to get so many of them that I buy them in stacks, you know, so that I always have one in the corner when I need it. Yeah, I would really lay off the water if I was growing these plants and struggling. I'd really lay off the water. I am like super lazy when it comes to plant care. This guy's probably the most impressive growth that I've had so far with the Facebook fail. And I called it a fail. You guys know why. It came in bad condition. So this guy's number one, and you guys will be shocked because you won't even recognize the rest of them. Okay, so here is our second little guy, the second node cutting, and to be honest with you, I had this guy in like a little yellow ceramic cup, and so I picked yellow for his pot so that I could try to keep track of who was who, but it was really hard. So if I get a couple wrong, please forgive me. I'm trying really hard to keep track. But this is the growth on this guy, and yes, they are in fact plowmanii cuttings, even though I doubted it at first. I was still learning, as we all are currently. But it's actually really neat, and these plants grow in the crawling manner just like the gloriosums do and things like that, so I need to unload some of these plants. Perhaps we need to do a plowmanii giveaway when we hit 5,000 subscribers, and I don't know, I mean, I think I got at least 3, maybe. Don't quote me on that. So this little guy comes in at number 3. He is definitely a slow grower. I think it was one of the smaller pieces of node that I separated and propagated, but we seem to be getting some really good growth now and how things are going. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure I've shown you guys before, but if you're new, the petioles on this plant are ribbed, and it is amazing. It comes out looking like something out of like Cinderella's dress to go to the ball. Very finely rippled fabric is what it looks like. This little guy is doing well as well, also in a little plastic pot from that collection, and he's putting out a new leaf currently. I will say that now that I'm on the third one, that these guys are very prone to spider mites, just like a lot of plants are. So I have to check these just about as often as I check my alocasias, which doesn't sound good because it isn't good. So the dry nature, the plasticky nature of their leaves, I'm not 100% sure, but they're definitely susceptible, so you know what I'm talking about. You heard in my last video. Everybody stays nice and separated. He's a real cute little guy, and I love him a lot, and so that makes the third node portion that I cut off of that order. Okay. This is the last little guy of the entire order. I don't know how long you guys have been following me, but I affectionately called this stump o' mine. I affectionately called it Old Drippy. It's because the top of it kept getting mold over and over and over again, and I would just go in there with a little paintbrush on the node, and I would use like alcohol and soap, and I would just scrub the mold off like every other day, just keep scrubbing it and keep scrubbing it, and it lived. I can't believe it. I cannot believe out of all the things that I've propagated that this actually made it. Old Drippy is going to see his day in the sun. The super immature leaves of the Plowmanii have been really, really interesting to observe. When they come out and they're very small, obviously the leaf shape is different. It taught me a lot about this type of philodendron, how it grows, how it can grow from an emaciated stump. That thing is just complete, it looks like a zombie. It's totally shriveled up, Night of the Living Dead. Don't give up until you absolutely have to. And you'll know when it's time. But sometimes it's just not time and you're just being a quitter.
Don't tell me what to do!
Okay, so that's all I've got for you guys today. Sorry if it was a little bit on the shorter side. I'm actually gonna be experimenting coming up with perhaps scheduled video times. I'm not 100% sure. I have that creeping weird feeling like you guys see just about enough of me as you see in me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't overstay your welcome type of scenario. Let me know how you feel about it. Would you like to see more uploads? Would you like for them to be scheduled? Just a thought. Just a random thought. On my next video, we're going to be talking about all the propagations I have going on right now in my house. Begonia propagations, philodendron propagations, every propagation I can find around here we're gonna talk about. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. Love you guys. Peace out. Later, taters. Bye.